And back here in Orlando at the Caribe Royal Resort, we move along now on this evening of the Undefeateds here on ShoBox, the new generation. This one takes place in the lightweight division and features Starling El Poli Castillo from the Dominican Republic against unbeaten Georgian Otar Pitbull Aranosian. And here is a look at 28-year-old Otar Pitbull Aranosian. Began as a professional only 17 months ago. That followed a 250-fight amateur career in his native Georgia. He won a bronze medal in the World Championships and was a four-time national champion at 132 pounds. Aranosian came to the United States in 2020. He's fought all his fights as a professional here in America. He's also fought a high caliber of opposition in his limited career, building a 10-0 record with 6 knockouts. We saw Aranosian in his last fight back in September of last year when he overwhelmed highly touted prospect Alejandro Porkchop Guerrero on ShoBox. Aranosian is an aggressive, strong, relentless kind of fighter. He wears his opponents down with constant pressure, accurate punching, and he's clearly established himself as a bona fide prospect on the rise. So, Brian, let's go behind the numbers with Otar Aranosian.
We start with Carpe Diem. Barry, talk about seizing the day. You mentioned Aranosian turned pro in August 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, yet he's fought 11 times since with no layoff longer than the current one of 4 months. Bring it on. Aranosian has purposely been matched tough up to this point, facing just one opponent with a losing record, and that came in his pro debut against an 0-1 fighter. His last 3 opponents had a combined record of 52-4. And finally, home sweet home. His new adopted home of Florida has been very good to the unbeaten Aranosian. Tonight marks his 10th appearance in the Sunshine State in 11 pro fights.
"26-year-old Starling Castillo of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic started boxing at age 4. He was trained by his father, a former amateur, who also trained Starling's sister, Kathy Wilson Castillo, a former IBF women's junior featherweight world champion. Following a 400-fight amateur career that included a Pan American Youth gold medal, Castro turned pro 4 years ago, and he's fought 14 times, all in his native country. He made his U.S. debut in July of last year when he stopped previously undefeated Miguel Contreras in Los Angeles, his one fight here in the United States. Castillo followed that in September when he stepped up in class and outpointed former world title challenger Juan Carlos Burgos. Castillo describes himself as a boxer, but if he asks to fight, he says he'll fight. If he asks to apply pressure, he'll apply pressure. Brian, behind the numbers with Starling Castillo.
Barry, for Castillo, it's go time. He has fought 13 times since 2019, including just once in that aborted 2020 campaign. But at 26, he's fresh off a 4-win campaign last year and appears ready to make his move into contender status should he be victorious tonight. Keyword momentum. You mentioned his best win this past September, outpointing a still game former world title challenger in 2 division. That's Juan Carlos Burgos. Not only did Castillo go the 10-round distance for the first time, but he refused to sit on his lead late and brought the fight to Burgos. And finally, buckle up. Only one of Castillo's previous 5 opponents have made it out of the second round, that being Burgos. The wiry southpaw Castillo has big power, and look for him to test Aranosian's chin early.
Yeah, it should be really an interesting fight. With that, we will take it to the center of the ring. The introduction of the combatants in this, our second fight of the evening, Starling Castillo and Otar Aranosian. Lightweights, we're scheduled for 8 rounds of action. With that, we go once more to the center of the ring, and our ring announcer for tonight's festivities, Bob Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, the action continues here on ShoBox, the new generation. From the Caribe Royal Resort here in Orlando, Florida, it's brought to you by Samson Boxing in association with Undisputed Boxing and Showtime. Introducing to you the 3 judges scoring at ringside: Fred Flutie, Eric Larson, and Efren LeBron. When the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, your referee, Christopher Young. This bout scheduled for 8 rounds of professional boxing in the lightweight division. Presenting first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black and gold trunks. He enters the ring wearing black and gold, weighing in at 135 pounds. His record stands at 10 wins, no losses, 6 wins by way of knockout. From Albuquerque, Georgia, via Hollywood, Florida, please welcome the WBA #7 super featherweight contender, Otar Pitbull Aronosian. And across the ring, fighting out of blue corner, he is wearing white and red trunks. He weighed in at 134 3/4 pounds. His record stands at 16 wins, no losses, 12 wins by way of knockout. From Quina Sueño, Dominican Republic, please welcome Starling El Poli Castillo.
Red corner, blue corner. Okay, Jimmy, you receive steps in the dressing room. Expect a tough, clean fight. In my commands all the time, take cells all the time. I touch him up.
As we see the tail of the tape in what is expected to be an exciting fight, look at both the height advantage of 3 inches for Castillo, yet Aronosian, the smaller fighter, with the reach advantage. Castillo is a long fighter, though, likes to get that left hand off from distance. Rules of the fight, no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule will be in effect. And as we mentioned earlier, only the referee can stop the fight. Fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round, and the fight is official after round 4.
All right, we are set to go then. Our second fight of the evening. We're going 8 rounds, and I don't think either of these guys is going to have to look for the other. Aronosian wants to be right in your grill.
And right off the bat, didn't waste no time.
Aronosian is an action fighter. He's going to be on the gas right from the jump.
You talk about the mental pressure that you can put on a fighter by being that active. That's what he does. He comes in from very interesting angles to hop in. And as we talk about the amateur experience, both very decorated. As we noted earlier, Castillo's father is also the coach of the women's Dominican Republic national team. But Aronosian, he has been a top-flight, world-ranked amateur, winning the bronze in the 2019 European Games before turning pro and going on this hot run to start his career. Since turning pro, though, the advantage of 6 more fights for Castillo, who turned pro in 2017. Yet Aronosian has fought more rounds. He's got that grinding style that pushes opponents late into the fight.
Yeah, grinding style and non-stop style.
Yeah, his pace wins him the fights, and the plan for him is to be faster, move with his legs, get inside. Otar feels very comfortable inside, and he's a good body puncher, and he feels Castillo won't be able to take the pressure.
Now, when he does step away from Castillo, however, Castillo's had some success with the left hand.
Yeah, he can't give Castillo any distance. He's got to keep the fight at mid to short range. And also attack from different angles. Just don't go forward. He's got to give him some head movement. And attacking from different angles is going to help a lot.
There's a left hand, and that staggered Castillo. And they're going to say it's a knockdown, and I believe that's correct.
And he's shaky, Barry. I think Castillo is wobbly.
He says he's not. Let's see.
Well, we'll see.
Appears to be okay. 2 right hands, another left hand, backs Castillo into the corner. Aronosian right on top of him.
Oh, he feels it. He feels it.
Big start for Aronosian.
Very big start. El Poli, la policía, the police. He needs the handcuffs, Barry, to tie the handcuffs.
Needs to call the police.
Yeah, to tie up the pit bull, because the pit bull is off the chain.
He was right on top of Castillo as well.
Well, this type of pressure is not just strategic from Aronosian to wear down his opponent. He doesn't want to give a longer fighter room to set up those punches. Castillo's got that old school wiring power, as you can see. He needs that type of room to step into that.
And this is exactly what we saw from Aronosian the last time against Porchak. Oh, another left hand drops it. And the bell is going to save Castillo, but he is in some trouble right now.
Round over.
Hernandez is a good personality.
Very confident in the corner.
Well, a dominant round. How do you make that a 10-7 round?
Absolutely.
10-7 round in an 8-round fight.
You're too much in front of him. How do you feel? How do you feel?
Let's
Breathe.
get looks at both knockdowns. The first one, that left hand right on the money. Castillo shaken up. It was a delayed fall. But as you saw, referee Christopher Young rightfully ruling it as the result of a punch. There's a second look at that first knockdown. He caught him flush and he woke Castillo up. Later in the round, of course, the counter right hand right on the money. A little bit of a flash knockdown, but he has gotten Castillo's attention.
No question. This is round 2, scheduled for 8. 2 knockdowns in the first round for the Georgian. The uppercut slipped in.
We thought this could be the fight of the night coming in. We had it circled, but to this point, you're seeing two fighters with a lot at stake going after it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lopsided so far.
Yeah, Otara is just overwhelming him with a lot of pressure. I think Castillo is lost in there. He's never seen anything like this. This is his third fight with Freddie as a trainer, who's Fundura's top.
Good left hand again. That cracked Castillo.
Who's Fundura's dad, top 154 pounder. This is his third fight, and he said he was too jumpy before, and he's now trying to sit more on his shots. But so far, I haven't seen Castillo sit on his shots, guys.
I don't think he's had any room to do that. There's an uppercut, a little bit short with that uppercut.
Castillo did land a clean counter right hand when his back was to the ropes. They sort of threw at the same time. He's going to have to start making his power felt.
Good right hand over the top again by Hermosillo.
You mentioned the Funduras, Raul. They know how to deal with train up tall fighters. Sebastian Fundura.
The giant.
The giant. 6 foot.
We had him here on Showbox. We had him on Showbox. Yeah.
He's a legitimate 154-pound contender at the moment.
But if he's fighting Erickson Luke,
good fight.
Yeah.
Once again, Castillo having trouble extricating himself from the ropes. Good left hand again from Hermosillo, and the left hand from Castillo.
You're Castillo, you need to make Hermosillo pay a toll for getting inside. It can't be come and go as you will.
Castillo needs to keep using that jab, keep him at bay, long range, 1-2 down the middle. Take a little side step to the right, to the left. Don't stand in front of him. But I'm telling you, the Pitbull, he's a very smart fighter. Had a lot of big, amateur pedigree, a lot of fights. That how big I am on that. That means a lot.
He's given it a lot of side-to-side stuff, too.
Exactly.
He's shifty. That's a great point.
Exactly.
It's never consistent how he enters. He really mixes up his footwork well.
Yes. You really don't know where he's going to come from, where he's going to attack from.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, that we've seen from a lot of Georgian, Ukrainian, and Kazakhstan fighters who are straight-ahead guys, but they're kind of unidimensional. I don't see that with Hermosillo.
No.
Solid round again, I thought, for Hermosillo.
Listen to what I'm going to tell you. Get flat-footed and go up the middle, short shots. Keep touching them. Don't just throw crazy. He dropped you because you opened up.
We were talking about Fundura earlier. We're going to get a look here at Sebastian Fundura. And there he is, the guy you were just talking about.
His younger sister, Gabriela, who's in the corner tonight, supporting her father in Castillo's corner, also recently turned pro. It's a fighting family, which, as we mentioned, that's something that Castillo knows so well. With his sister being a former world champion, his father being a national team coach. Just like the Marquezes.
He looks to me like a stretch four in basketball. You know?
All those years in the Pac-10 paid off.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, the bad news for Castillo, you're down 2 rounds. You were down twice in the opening round. But his legs still seem to be there, and he's still looking to dig in and land big power shots.
He's still taking shots in the meantime. We're getting a little side-to-side stuff from Aronosian.
A lot of head movement, too, by Pitbull.
Watch where the click.
Side to side. Looking for openings, creating openings. He's a thinking guy. He's not just throwing punches, throw punches. He's trying to open up his guard and trying to come back with a shot that's going to make it count.
Now, this is where Castillo wants to fight, but I'm not sure he can keep it out there.
Aronosian's style looks a lot like Rajib Kutayev with a big win over Jamal James at welterweight on Showtime, and is suddenly an instant contender out of nowhere. Let's see if Aronosian can make in his own weight class that type of noise.
The shot provided, it came back with 2 his own.
Castillo keeps giving Aronosian what he wants. Short range fight. Either that or you just can't find a way to keep him on the outside. He needs to find a way to tie him up in the inside and get back outside with a jab. Let the referee break you apart. That was a nice little uppercut by Castillo. Another good combination. That's what he has to do and move to the left, move to the right. But you got to be in great shape to fight a guy like Aronosian. Yeah. He's going to keep coming. He's a little energizing, but he don't stop. All misses.
Yeah, all misses. 4
Waste of energy, yeah.
Got there.
Still going to punch his way out of every time he's troubled and back up to the ropes. It's still dangerous for Aronosian because if you're going to come in ducking in with your head in that style, you're going to be there to be hit.
Especially with uppercuts.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right back on top, and then he got out of there. You know, the movement that Aronosian has allows him to get close to his man. He doesn't utilize the jab very much at all, and yet he still gets there.
Yeah, it's like he's in, he's to the side. Look at that 3-4 punch combination. He really knows how to work the ring.
And then a good right hand.
Head movement too. He blocks shots, good defense. He's not just the average fighter that just comes forward.
Right.
Barry. He gives you different looks. It's another round for Aronosian.
I mean, this is what he does. He's on the gas like this every minute of the fight.
Always mixing it up. You have to move. You have to move more. You're standing there after you hit him, you stand there. You have to move. You have to throw and you have to move. You have to hit him and you're going to move around. Move around and watch for his right. Watch for his right. Hit him in the head and you're going to move to the right. And watch out for his right hand. I don't want to see the right hand land. You're fighting smart. And don't rush. Take your time.
That is the voice of Vladimir Lik, who is our Russian interpreter.
Back up, German. Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. Box.
So we come to round 4 of an 8-round fight, but significantly, that first round, hard to see any other way but a 10-7 round. So it's possible that Castillo could already be 5 points behind.
Very possible. I will say, though, let's give him credit round 3. Castillo's starting to find moments to counter. It's not enough. It's not consistent enough. But if he's going to turn the momentum of this fight, it's going to be as Aronosian is darting in, timing him with one of those power shots.
No.
Recognize the name in the corner between rounds. The trainer, of course, of Aronosian, former heavyweight contender Timur Ibragimov. Fought the likes of Alvin Brock, Oliver McCall throughout his career.
A lot of big names.
He misses from Arunosi there.
Call them panic punches when he throws 3-4. He's doing that for a reason, to look for openings and trying to land a big shot. In order to do that, you got to be in really good shape. Oh, nice body shot there by Arunosi.
I don't think conditioning is a question for Arunosi.
No, I agree. He's nonstop, all action.
Hey, it just kind of wears you out.
That mental fatigue, we talked to him about that in the fighter meeting. It's as important as the physical fatigue you put on a guy when you just won't go away. And to Raul's point, when you're coming from different angles, it's a pattern you can never get used to.
It's like he's there, he's not, and you're looking for him, and it's tough. The only bad thing I see in Arunosi, at times, he pops back up straight with his head too straight up, and he can't get caught coming out.
Especially against a creative power puncher, which Castillo is. You'll see uppercuts coming from out of nowhere. Again, just not consistent enough.
The best example, I always talk about it, when Donald Curry, the Cobra Curry from Texas, I don't know if you guys remember this, he pulled out with his head straight up, chin up in the air. Mike McCallum caught him with an overhand right and put him to sleep.
You think I
there he
remember
goes.
that?
I always say that a fighter should not come back with his hands down, his chin up in the air, stay low, and move to the right or move to the left, circle, but never with your hands down and your chin up in the air. I was little, by the way, when I saw that.
Were you? Just a child. Good left hand there from Castillo, one of his best punches in the fight. Got right back into the corner he goes, and Arunosi right on top of him. And again, Arunosi just not working as much.
I see it.
Halfway through this 8-round bout, we thought it could be exciting. Boy, has it been so far, even if it's been a little bit one-sided. You see no jabs attempted by Arunosi, and he hasn't needed it. He's getting inside the whole time. Only 12 clean body punches landed, but it's the consistent effort with the flurries inside upstairs that have taught Castillo. That looping left hand in round 1 hurt him against the ropes. You see the delayed knockdown call, but the second knockdown that would come, that was a clear, clean shot with the counter right hand. Round 2, Castillo still dangerous, but Arunosi constantly backing him up with clean pressure. In round 3, Castillo trying his best to plant and throw. But when he's not given the room, which Arunosi does not allow, it's been hard for him to get the type of leverage that could change momentum.
So we begin round 5. Now reached past the halfway point of this fight. It's been dominated, we believe, by Orat Arunosi.
Yep. I believe Castillo has a lot of work to do in the second half of the fight. I mean, I got him down by 6 points.
Yeah, me too.
In his favor, though. We know he's a puncher, 12 knockouts in 16 fights, but he really believes in his power. That can be a detriment when you're so committed to landing that big shot and you can't, but it also could be something where no matter the situation, he's going to be here in a dangerous position to be able to land something on Arunosi.
All right, let's bring in Steve Farhood once again for his scorecard. Steve, I got to think you see this the same way as we all do.
Well, Barry, it's only an 8-round fight, and the key is round 1. Arunosi with 2 knockdowns, that's a 10-7 round, and starting an 8-round fight down 10-7 after 1 round for Castillo is the equivalent of losing 21-0 in a football game after 1 quarter. So far, Castillo hasn't done enough to prove that he can get back into this fight on the scorecards, but I did give him the last round.
Yeah, you thought he did enough in the last round to win it, I take it.
Yes, I did.
Thank you, Steve. And we, of course, will hear from Steve all evening long with his view of the fight, his look, and there was a little bit of a hit on the break.
Oh, no. Solid body shot.
Shot, and then an uppercut.
Arunosi really sitting down on them shots. And that's what he needs to do when he knows he's comfortably ahead now. Start sitting down on his shot. Put some hurt on Castillo. Let him feel that pain. He's winded. Castillo's winded too.
Good right hand right there. Just took a half step back, cranked the right hand. Took a long look at his corner too. Right hand just a little short.
This type of pressure really shows the wrinkles in an unbeaten fighter like Castillo, who sometimes can keep his chin there for too long, but also his body is there, an open target for the hurt, and Aaronosian has filled that stat sheet.
Aaronosian's activity, it's unreal, man.
Yes.
And his chin, too. Fair enough. He's been counted.
Yes. I agree. He's got a good chin, good defense. He's got good technique. I mean, I remember the first time we saw him, I fell in love with him.
No, exactly. Same. This is just a repeat of that fight, basically, without the knockdowns in the last fight.
And he fought a pretty tough guy.
Yeah, he did.
Pork Chop Guerrero, who I followed in the amateurs, and it was a give and take, but Aaronosian got the best out of him. A short uppercut, yes. That's another round.
Yeah. Saturday, January 29th, Bellator MMA makes its 2020 premiere, headlined by a title unification. Heavyweight champion Ryan Bader returns to the division following his impressive run at the Bellator Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix. He'll now meet interim heavyweight kingpin Valentin Moldavsky. Main card will air live at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, here on Showtime, your home for combat sports. We have the king of combat sports alongside us now on this show, Ryan Campbell.
The king.
I love talking MMA with Raul. You want deep analysis on what goes on.
I do.
You ask Raul.
Come on, Jimmy. Gotta keep it clean, okay?
Round 6 of this 8-round fight. And the fight that has been, we feel, dominated by the Georgian Otar Aaronosian.
And we haven't mentioned it's a very small ring. Which favors obviously Aaronosian, and I mean he's really made that ring smaller for Castillo.
No doubt. And that ring gets smaller when you don't use a jab. We've seen Castillo paw with that jab. We have not seen a consistent commitment to it.
Yeah, he needs a hard, solid jab to keep him out, or give him more angles. Though it's easily said than done.
He's just allowing Aaronosian now to step to him.
One thing about these 50-50 exchanges, this is where Castillo might be able to claw a little bit back in. He's the bigger puncher I've seen so far of the two, despite getting dropped twice in the first round.
I think he's going for broke. He said, look, I can't get this guy off of me. I'm just going to go toe-to-toe and make it an inside fight and try to land some big shot, uppercuts. He's got to work his uppercuts more.
At some point, you have to sell out and understand the situation.
Go for it. I mean, he's got 2 rounds left. He ain't got no time.
Last warning. Pops.
He seems to be getting out quick, too.
Stop holding. Stop holding.
Castillo really got our attention, as we mentioned, with that victory over a well-traveled but still game Juan Carlos Burgos. But he did take some punishment late in that fight. The gas tank difference was evident as the veteran Burgos was the fighter pushing the pace late.
But Burgos is a total different style from Aaronosian. Again, we're going back to Burgos was attacking just straight forward, wasn't giving him different looks, different angles, punches and bunches, power shots, head movement. He was coming straight forward, and that's why Castillo was catching him.
Castillo doing a little bit better now, but still, Aaronosian right on top of him, absolutely dictating the tempo of the fight.
I just don't see that's enough for Castillo to win the round. He is throwing more punches. He lands some, he misses some, but look at the way Aaronosian comes right back.
I got you. Let go.
Interesting enough, Castillo a southpaw, but he does everything else in his life right-handed, except for throwing a big power punch. And you know, when you fight fighters with that, they got a stiff right jab. He's just not showing that.
Aaronosian missing a lot more in this round, but he's still ring generalship, that vaguest of all terms. He owns it.
No, I got you. 5 seconds left, Jimmy.
Good right hand.
I can't give that round to Castillo. That's another Aaron round.
Well, coming up next, our main event, you get a good look here at Luis Nunez. He will fight a guy that he really didn't know very much about, and quite frankly, neither do we. Carlos Arrieta, 10 rounds, super featherweight division. Here is Arrieta, and he is not at all awed by being in there against Nunez.
We talked to his team this week, Raul and I. They want to put the pressure on. They want to make believers out of anybody who's doubting Carlos Arrieta coming in. This is the right platform to do that.
You like him. I know you like him.
And he's got to be confident now that, hey, listen, first fight, his countryman lost. The second fight is, talking about the Dominican.
Here's a replay of the action we just saw in round 6. That right hand from Otar, the counter shot as Castillo dropped his guard in close.
Round 7, I beg your pardon.
Well-traveled boxing scribe Eric Raskin does a great job co-hosting the Showtime Boxing Podcast with Kieran Mulvaney. He said this week, Aronosian, I don't know if he's a legitimate title contender down the road here, or if he's just a TV fighter. But either way, he makes fun TV fights. I like to see him.
Absolutely. I'll be interested to know what Eric says after this fight.
Hey, that's what people want to see, action. Activity. I mean, you're right.
Good left hand there for Aronosian. And that was from a distance for him. And an uppercut. Aronosian just kind of punch-shotting now.
Double uppercut. Beautiful short shots in there. Picking them apart. Making a miss. Big misses by Castillo.
Uppercut again. Really found a home for that.
Look at that. Everything missing.
Yeah.
We talk about the importance of the jab. We haven't seen much of it tonight. I'm looking for that as far as somebody going back to the Orthodox Foundation. Castillo landing just 5, just 1 for Aronosian, despite dominating this fight in all matters, dictating the terms, landing the bigger shots with the 2 knockdowns in round 1. He hasn't needed that entrance punch to get inside.
He's making Castillo look silly here.
Oh, look at that. Now he's clowning him. He's playing with him. Don't get too careless there, Aronosian.
Yeah. Don't give him the room to uncork that left hand.
Look at that. Beautiful.
That's 8 punches.
He's
all
all
of them got him.
Jesus Christ. That's got to be really discouraging. He makes him pay, and then makes him miss. Toying with him. Oh, his glove. Gotta fix his glove. Probably wait for the belt to end.
10 seconds.
Stop.
Talking to him too now.
Yep.
The pit bull is barking now, Barry. He had him barking. He's telling him to sit down. Hey, listen. Castillo's got to go for broke here. Got 1 round left.
Estamos bien. Vamos a quedar en la soga, ¿viste?
It's beautiful. You're doing a brilliant fight. Just don't get caught. Be smart. Don't get caught. Don't get caught. Watch his left. That's all he has. Watch his left. He has a very strong left.
You want some more water? Or you good?
Último asalto.
Last round.
Cerradito arriba, nada de sorpresa.
Tight defense. Let everything go. Close up big. Cierra bien. Close big.
So they shake hands and even sort of kind of hug as we start the final round. Aranosian starting right where he left off.
It felt like Aranosian was trying to send a message in round 7 there. It wasn't just the dominance, it was the taunting, the one-upsmanship.
Stop. I got you.
Good left hand.
Castillo cannot see the angle of those left hands. They're finding the chin clean every time out.
Every time, yeah.
You say in boxing, when you get knockouts, it's the punches you don't see, and that's what Castillo's not seeing. That's why he's getting caught. The way Aranosian attacks from different angles.
That was it. I got you. But
Been working hard all through the fight, Barry.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
Well, that's what we said, and that's what we saw the last time.
I got you.
Just to
Listen,
repeat.
whoa. I got you. Let go. Listen. Watch the elbow, baby, okay? Box.
Aranosian getting that mid-fight instruction, turning his back to his opponent to get it from the corner.
Stop. I got you. Here's woman.
As Gunnar said, Castillo has a very good left hand. Don't get hit by the left hand. He hasn't so far.
And this is the right distance to avoid that.
Yeah.
Such a smart fighter. Why through just 10 pro bouts? We asked him, well, why match yourself this tough? Because of that amateur experience that has prepared him for this level.
Yeah, it really speaks to what you were talking about earlier. Castillo had 400 amateur fights, nowhere near the caliber of the 250 amateur fights that Aranosian had.
And we see it. We're seeing why.
I got
All misses by Castillo. And getting caught.
I got you. Keep your head up, champ. Keep your head up.
Signs of desperation. He's desperate.
Final 10 seconds of the fight. Dominating performance
Absolutely.
for Otar Aranosian. They started with a huge first round, and he never really got off the gas.
You saw what you want to see in this type of showcase to see if a guy's ready to make the leap. Otar Aranosian, he's got a style that's hard to pick up on, but I think he's got, from an intangible standpoint, a chin, a mindset, a swagger as the more aggressive, bigger, not the bigger puncher, but he acted like the more aggressive, bigger man in there. I've seen things like this on the next level. He looks to be going in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. I love what I saw. I mean, that's another consecutive dominant win for him. He really puts in the work. And I saw some improvement. He was timing up more on his shots. He said he's been working on that. I saw more flurries, more speed. And what gets me with him is the way he attacks from different angles. I love that, and that's going to give any fighter problems down the road.
Yeah, not a lot of guys are going to want to see him coming.
Well, it makes his power more effective when he's able to land those shots you don't see coming.
True.
And you saw the effect tonight. Speaking of that effect, let's look back at it in round 1. Aranosian, he wasted 0 time. That left hand caught Castillo clean, the delayed knockdown. Sat him down a second time with the counter right hand. Round 2, look, Castillo had moments of one punch at a time. But this was one-way traffic with Aranosian dictating the terms, closing the distance, and just mauling his opponent. But true to form, and it wasn't dirty mauling, it was effective, clean punching. Some good body work from Castillo, but always seemed to having the answer as Aranosian, countering on the inside with flurries. And the second half of the fight saw more of the same. When Castillo doesn't have the room to step into these power shots, it's less effective. Catching Aranosian clean but always on the receiving end of those flurries in return. Let's give Arinosian credit. He started to realize that from distance he can land a few looping shots that would find the mark in the holes in Castillo's guard, and whether it was inside or it was outside, it was all Pitbull all night long.
Yeah, very impressive performance, no question about that. Certainly we'll see him again on ShoBox. Here are the numbers.
These stats tell a more manageable story from what our eye test showed. Arinosian landing more punches at a slightly better percentage. You see the slight edged body shots landed. Wow, 10 combined jabs being landed by both fighters over the course of 8 rounds. Have you seen that before?
No.
You know, we want to take a moment to give a shout out to a guy who's everybody's pal in the sport of boxing. Dave Diamante is an elite ring announcer. Most of you know he's done this show on many occasions, in addition to countless others for countless other networks. He's in a New York hospital recouping from a serious motorcycle accident. We here at ShoBox look forward to the day we see Dave Diamante walk back into another arena. He's fighting a good fight, and we're pretty confident he will win it.
And he's going to be okay because every time I see him, he's like, you're the real Diamante. And he's a Diamante too, so he's going to be good, Barry.
All right, let's go to the center of the ring once more. Bob Alexander with the decision. Bob?
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Caribe Royale Resort in Orlando, Florida, after 8 rounds of professional boxing, we go to the scorecards. Judge Fred Flutie scores about 79-71. Judges Eric Larson and Efren LeBron both score the bout 80-70. For the winner by unanimous decision, Oktar Pitbull Arinosian.
You gotta like this guy.
He's got the personality to match the activity level and the explosion. You see the papaka, I believe it's pronounced, on his head. A headdress worn by the Georgian culture, also the Dagestan culture of Russia. You've seen it in mixed martial arts with Khabib Nurmagomedov.
All right, let's bring Steve Farhood in one more time. And Steve, as you saw it, that's the way this fight was. Pretty hard to see it any other way, I would think.
Yeah, Barry, we had a little controversy with the first fight with the split decision, but no controversy or surprise with the cards here. You see that Frederick Flutie gave Castillo 1 round. Eric Larson and Efren LeBron gave him no rounds. I gave Castillo 1 round as well, and it was a very one-sided win for Arinosian.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. We will hear from you once again in our main event. Back here at the Caribe Royale Resort in Orlando, our main event now coming up next. Like our previous 2 fights, it features 2 undefeated fighters looking to stay that way. 15-0 Luis Nunez making his ShoBox return as he takes on 14-0 Carlos Arrieta of Puerto Rico. But before we get to that, we want to let you know what's ahead on the Showtime